It's mid-April and it's time to take a look at the garden. It's been growing. Spring has been great for it. The weather has been kind of all over the place. We've had torrential rains, we've had crazy winds, we've had sun, we've had gloomy days, we've had cold, we've had hot, typical spring. But the garden seems to be thriving and I'm so excited to show it to you today. So welcome. This is Grow and Preserve. I'm Carter. I'm so glad you're here today. Let's get started. All right, let's start with a quick overview to remind you of the layout. It's the left-hand side of the backyard we're starting with. Move on over to the right-hand side. I have basically a mirror image on each side. 4 beds on one side, 4 beds on the other side. I also have an herb bed and a couple of whiskey barrels on each end. These are the blueberries. I'm not sure if I showed you these last time or not. These two that are really pretty and pink. These are pink lemonade blueberries. And I've had these since Atlanta, so they're probably 3 or 4 years old. And we moved them here, and they did fairly well last year. This year, unfortunately, we moved them in the backyard maybe 2 or 3 times, and so I'm not sure how happy they are right now, so we'll see. And there's the first herb bed. You can see my perennials have come back, of course, but I need to get the annuals planted in there. These are the onions that I planted with my sister-in-law back in February, and they're doing really well. I had a hard time with onions last year, trying to get my timing right. It's a bit different between Atlanta and Tennessee, so this year I hope I do better. This is a bed that has mostly lettuce in it right now. This is just seed that I threw in there last fall, and it's going gangbusters. I have interspersed some cauliflower in there that should grow up and over. A few extra onions there as well. This bed is so exciting. These are the potatoes. We did these together a couple of weeks ago and then proceeded to have a ton of rain. So I covered them with a big tarp and look at them now. I uncovered them yesterday and I was shocked to see this much growth underneath the tarp because it's literally been covered for at least a week. So I'm really excited with these. These are lilies. Not a vegetable, but these are the most beautiful things in the world. I can't wait to show you when they bloom. They are bright orange and red, and they're just gorgeous. All right, I need some help here. See this archway here? This is relatively new, and I want some sort of something flowery that will climb up and over really quickly. So I don't know whether that's a trumpet vine. I see a lot of those here in Middle Tennessee, but I'm open to suggestions, so let me know what you think. Now we're on to, this is broccoli and cauliflower, and they're under the netting, not so much to prevent bug attacks at the moment, but because we have a little bunny who seems to be smarter than we are. We've put up bunny fencing, and yet he still gets in. So here's my garlic. These are hornets or wasps or something. Somebody tell me what in the world those are and what they're doing in my garlic. I'm not too happy about that. This is my first year growing hardneck garlic, so I'm excited to get some garlic scapes at some point. These are broccoli, and then down on the far left here we have some Brussels sprouts. I don't know if I'll have time for them before it gets too hot, but I'm going to try. This is the bed where my indeterminate tomatoes are going to go. You can see I have some chives, I have a bunch of cabbages, but the indeterminate tomatoes and the pickling cucumbers and my butternut squash will go in there. And my peas, these are bistro peas. Supposedly they grow about 2 feet tall and pretty much stand straight up. So we're going to see. This is my first year growing these, but they've come up quite well. I planted them after the last garden tour. Here's the herb bed down here. You can see that the oregano is coming back really well. There's a little bit of sage coming back, so I think it's going to be fine. The mint, of course, you can't get rid of the mint, and then the chives are always going to do well. My apple trees, I have 2 apple trees, a Fuji and a Gala. Honestly, as I look at them here, I'm not sure which one is which, but we planted them last year. Of course, had no fruit last year. I doubt we're going to get any fruit this year, but I just like to see them getting established. And we talked about my blackberries last year. The canes were they were flying everywhere. So I came out here with my choppers and just kind of went to town on them. But they're still kind of all over the place. So I don't know if I did a good job, a bad job, or what. We'll have to see. But there's one here coming up. Do you remember the movie alien and that creature that came out of Sigourney Weaver's belly. Well, wait till you see this next one coming up. Look at that. See how thick those canes are? That was like the alien popping out of the belly. It's everywhere. So David said, well, let's just leave that one and see how it goes. So I wound it through the fence, and I don't know, the neighbors may end up with more blackberries than we do, but we'll see. That's all right. This is kind of a corner where not much else is going to end up here anyway. So we're going to let these go, and I hope we're going to get some blackberries this year. Somebody tell me how I did on my pruning. Probably terrible, but I'm okay with that. Now, these are what I call my ladies in waiting. They are out sunning for the day, actually just for a couple of hours now. We're still probably 2 weeks away from being able to put out the tomatoes and peppers. Our nights are, maybe 40s, several in the 40s. We have some coming up in the 30s. So it's not quite time yet, but I have all my tomatoes and hot peppers and sweet peppers and some herbs. I hope I don't make you sick with the camera work here. So you can see the beautiful tomatoes. I have some potato leaf varieties. That'll be my brandy wine. And then I have lots of regular tomato leaf varieties. These are hot peppers. They're tall, but they're still stocky. They're looking great. I'm very pleased with all of those. My sweet peppers, I of course planted long after the hot peppers. So as you can see, they are quite a bit smaller. But they'll catch up here in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and I can wait and plant those. Heaven knows I have enough to plant starting around, last week of April, beginning of May. Local wisdom here says don't plant until Mother's Day. So we'll just have to see. I like to push it, but, that gets me in trouble sometimes. So, there's David planting grass seed. Tomatoes, in case you forget what a tomato leaf looks like. There you go. More peppers. This is the, hang on. There you go. That's, there. Almost there. Okay. Lettuce leaf basil. This stuff is huge. It's really, really big. And it's tasty, but it's very mild. It doesn't have that really strong basil flavor that you would want in a pesto. It's fabulous in a salad, and it's just nice and mild and pretty. But I am going to need to plant some regular basil as well. I have dill in this tray. I have parsley and cilantro. I have some more chives. I'm not sure why, but I have plenty of chives. More peppers and tomatoes. I have way more plants than I'm going to have room for. So here we are with the green stalk. I don't think you've seen my green stalk yet. I've had this for, 3 or 4 years. Last year I had the strawberries in it up on top of the deck, and they were against the wall of the house, and they got fried. I mean, literally fried by the sun. So I'm trying a new spot for them now down here on the deck. Oops, man. I'm not good with the camera work. I'm sorry about that. But the strawberries look pretty good. So I bought these strawberries because the last ones really were goners. So these look pretty good. I bought these from Lowe's, and there were 2 in a pot, and I separated them. Now here we are with the yams. I call them sweet potatoes, but these are actually jewel yams. They started 2 or 3 years ago as organic yams from Publix. And these are my own yams that I grew last year that I'm sprouting. And you can see I have one batch full of roots. Another batch I've just clipped off the other day. So last year I went ahead and potted some of those up. I may do that again this year, because I'd really like them to hang on until about June 1st or so. So one last look at the ladies here. They all look good. They're staying out about 2 hours at a time right now. Slowly work our way up. I figure I have 2 weeks to really harden them off, so I don't want to push it too fast, too soon. So here's a pepper plant. I just wanted to show you. I topped a couple of them. A couple were getting a little lanky. So I topped those, and now they're bushing out really nicely. To see all this green out here. This is a Roma tomato. I love Romas. You know, they're determinants. They're short and stocky with good thick stems. And they're just hardy little things. Always happy with the Romas. They may not be as large as some of the other paste tomatoes in terms of size of the fruit, but they are very predictable and I love them. Those sweet potato or yam roots again. Isn't that purple leaf beautiful? And so just in case you were wondering about the salad bar, here it is, going strong, fully packed. We've been eating off of it constantly, but it seems to have no problem replacing itself. All right, so I do have some seeds to start today. Some I probably should have started a while ago and somehow neglected to do so. So this is oregano. I have some oregano growing in the garden. I should have started this 6 weeks ago, probably, but we're going to give it a shot and see what I can do. I'd like to have little bits of oregano scattered through the garden instead of just in the herb bed, but we'll see how that goes. It's time to start my honey nut squash. These are baby butternut squash. I grew them last year. They were so good, and they're still in perfect shape. So I cured them, and they're still doing well. So I'm very excited to have something that lasts for so long. And basil. I showed you my lettuce leaf basil outside. I got so carried away with that, I forgot to plant regular basil. So this year I'm going to plant Prospera DMR PS5 F1, which is by Johnny Seeds. It's supposed to be a very, very productive basil, and it's supposed to be mildew resistant. So I'm excited about that. And then I'm planting my second round of Roma tomatoes today. They'll go in the garden early June, thereabouts, so I'll have another blush of paste tomatoes. So that's always a good thing. Get the first one out of the way, get all those super fun canning projects, and then you get the last one coming in, and that gives you just basic tomatoes I'm going to need for sauces, and then green tomatoes that I'm going to need for salsa verde. So anyway, I'm going to get planting, and I'll see you back here next time. Have a great day. Thank you so much for being here. Bye-bye.